this lecture, I'm actually going to walk you through the app and explain what all different things mean and how you can use them for your own videos. Let's get started. So I'm over here in my TikTok app. When you open the app for the very first time, you'll see the home screen. This is where all the videos are going to be shown. This is where all the magic happens. So there are two parts to the home screen. At the very top of the screen, you can see it says For You. So this is going to show me the general feed of all the videos that are recommended to me by the algorithm, by TikTok. And on the left side, if I switch that, you can see it says Following. So if you look on the left side, here it's going to show me all of the videos of the people that I'm following. So it actually separates two different sections. This way, you get consistently videos of all the profiles that you follow, and you also get a lot of new content. Because, for example, you only follow 10 profiles maybe, and they don't upload, content 24/7. So in the For You section, you're going to get a lot of videos that are designed specifically for you. Now, TikTok will determine what kind of videos you like based on your preferences and based on what you search. So, for example, as you can see, this is a video about hockey, and it popped up in my feed because a couple of days ago, I started to search for #hockey in the search bar. I'll show you all those things later. And anytime that I was looking for hockey, it started to show me some content, and now I see videos from profiles that I don't follow. So this is one example of how the algorithm serves you different videos. Okay, so let's look at the elements on the actual video. So in the middle is obviously the video, very simple. On the right side, you see the little icon. It says sauce. That's the logo of the actual profile. So if I click on that logo, it'll take me to the profile, and in here I see all of the videos. If I go back, I'm back in the actual video. Just below is the heart, so you can like the video. If you click at it, you unlike it. Click on the comments, so you can add comments over here. Pretty standard. Over here, you can the little arrow, if you click on that one, you can share the video. So at the very top, you can share it with people that you've spoken to, with other users maybe. In the middle, we have the share button for other social media platforms. And on the very bottom, there's other things we can do with the video. You can report it, save the video, etc., etc. One thing I do recommend, as we go through this process, you're going to be able to watch a lot of videos. And one of the best ways to sort of save inspiration from funny videos that you see or useful videos, you can save them as favorites. So over here, I'll click on Add to Favorites. And you see, I get a notification, it was added to favorites. You're going to see tons of videos, and every time you see something fun, I think you should save it, because then you can use it for inspiration for your own videos later, and it'll be saved in the favorites. So that's the most important thing, And the algorithm also will look at how much you share videos. So if I share a lot of videos about hockey, it'll notice that, okay, I'm probably interested in this topic, and it'll give me more videos. Going down to the bottom half of the screen, again, we see the title over here. It says @saucehockey. So that's the username of the actual account. If I click on that, again, it takes me to the profile. I'll scroll back. And over here, just below, we see the description. So just a simple text, and below we have the hashtags, and hashtags are again very similar like their Instagram. However, they have a different function in TikTok, but we have a whole lecture on that. We'll explain it in the coming sections. And on the very bottom, we have the song. Also, see, it says Go Loco, and then it has a little icon on the very bottom right. This is the actual icon and logo of the song. So over here, the music that's playing in the song has a much more dominant function than any other social media platform, and I'm going to explain why that is and how you can use that to your advantage. So if I click on any of these elements, it'll take me to that page. So if you click on a song, it's going to open up a page, and it'll show me all the videos that have used that song. So this is a really fun way how TikTok makes it very collaborative, and you can use music in your videos. Then go ahead back. And the same if I click on a hashtag. So for example, I click on #NHL. Again, it's going to show me all of the videos with that hashtag. So pretty simple. And both the music and the hashtag, you can save them to favorites. So I can add this one to favorites, just so I remember that. So next time I create a video, I could use that one. Okay, so this is the home screen and the basic home page. The following page, again, is all the same elements. And it's pretty much the same, it's just different kinds of videos that you see because it's all the people that you are following. So that's the home screen. The next one, we have Discover tab. The Discover has two main functions. Number one is the search tab on the top, and you can search for songs, hashtags, users, videos, basically anything you can search for. So I can click over here, and for example, one of my searches was F1, and it'll show me the top user and the top videos. Again, I can click on the user, show me all of the users with that title F1, show me all the videos, and they're displayed in the order of how popular they are. So the most popular at the top, the most viewed. I can click on the video and check it out. Then we have sounds, so all of the sounds that will be categorized under F1, and then we have the hashtags over here. So one function, like I said, is Discover. I'm going to go back. And one function is the search, and the second function is this, where you can see all of the challenges. So we do have a whole section talking about challenges, how to take advantage of them, but it's basically popular trends that are happening on TikTok, and this is what makes it super easy and super fun to participate in TikTok and create content, even though you may not think of yourself as a very creative person. So that's what we have. Looking next, actually, I'm going to click on one of the challenges, for example, this one. It'll give me some information about the challenge, basically an explainer, what it is, shows me the videos that are in the challenge, and then a little record button, so I can actually record the videos myself, or I can again add it to favorites and then use this later on. Let's go back. So at the bottom, continuing, you can see over here we have a little plus button. This will allow me to start shooting my own videos. So we do a video lecture explaining the camera functions and how you can shoot videos and edit the videos. We're not going to go into detail, but just so you know, you can shoot the videos here. You can upload videos, upload songs, and all these things. Then next we have the inbox. Inbox, you get all of the notifications. You can, at the top, it says all activity. If I click on that, it's going to change the notifications based on, for example, who's following me, what kind of likes I got, what kind of comments, etc., etc. If you click on followers, all of the followers that I got today. So go back to all activity, and on top right, you'll see the little message button. If I click on that, it will show me all of the messages, so you can actually direct message to people. And then continuing on this menu on the bottom right, click on me, and I get the profile. And over here, I see the videos that I've been uploading along with my videos. So we do have detailed lectures on all of the important parts and how you can use them, whether you're a personal profile or business profile or an aggregate profile. But at least now you have a rough understanding of what the app looks like and what are all the different elements in there. In the next lecture, we are going to take a look at creating your first account from scratch. So we'll talk about what are the most important things and how do we go about creating your account. In this lecture, we're going to talk about what are all the important elements of a great profile. Let's get started. I have a sample profile here, and let's walk through all of the important elements of a great profile. So starting from the very top, you can see it has a name, Arnold. So this is obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger. One thing that you might get confused right off the bat is at the very top it says Arnold, but just under the picture it says Arnold Schnitzel. These are both things that you need in your profile. The top one is your name, and the bottom one is your username. The difference is that the username that says @Arnold Schnitzel, that one has to be unique. So there can only be one Arnold Schnitzel in TikTok, but the top one is your name. There can be several Arnolds. So this is created because maybe your name is John Smith, and you can't have the John Smith handle because it's already taken, most likely. So you could still say John Smith and something else in your username, but at the top, your name could still say John Smith. So you could have yourself identified as you went for proper personal profile. There's other ways we could use it, but we'll talk about that in the next lecture. Then right in the middle, we have the profile picture. Now, this is not the most professionally taken picture, but it's definitely a fun one, and it's a good character of Arnold. It's not centered, so it's not a good example of picture at all, but you get the point. Then just underneath, we have the numbers, so we can see that Arnold is following 4 people. He has 3.1 million followers and 10.1 million likes on his profile. If I click on the following, I'll get the people that he's actually following. So I can see that he's following Will Smith, for example, or Tony Hawk. And then I also get a list of all of his followers. So this is very interesting. You get all the information. Then the next important point, so you can choose the name, the username, and the profile picture. That's what you put in your profile so far. And the next, you can connect social media links from other platforms. So right now, on TikTok, you can connect your Instagram and your YouTube. So you can see there's a little Instagram icon on his profile. If I click on that, it pops up and it says, do you want to go into his Instagram or his YouTube? And if I click on any of those, it'll take me away from TikTok and into those platforms. TikTok is currently testing link in bio. They don't have that for all the users right now. Only verified users on TikTok have a link in bio. Arnold is verified. You can see there's a little blue check mark next to his name. That just means he's a very famous personality, so he has a verified account. Or that means he's a huge creator on the TikTok platform, not necessarily famous outside of TikTok, but the really big ones also have a checkmark. Now, Arnold didn't choose to have a link in his bio, otherwise verified profiles can have that. But they're testing the link in bio with non-verified people, the ordinary humans like you and me. So we're going to see if they're going to roll that feature out to all of the users. And then below we have the bio. So it says former Mr. Olympia, Conan Terminator, and the governor of California. So the bio is very restricted. You only have 90 characters in the actual bio. And over here we have the videos that he has posted. So these are all the elements of a profile. This is a pretty good example, but the profile picture wasn't great. So another one is Will Smith. This is a great picture that will get your attention. It's got the bright colors, but it still has his face right in the middle, and you can tell that it's Will Smith. So everything else is the same over here. In the next lecture, we're going to take a look at how do you choose a good name and username, and how can you use those to your advantage. In this section, we're going to talk about the name and the username. What are the differences? Because they do have very different functionality, and how you're going to use them in your profile. I have a sample profile over here, and again, as a reminder, at the top, we have a name. So in this profile, it says Guy from Vine, and we're going to explain why that does it say that at the top. Then with the profile picture on the bottom, we have the username, so it says @SeanSauceTV. Let's start with the name. So the name can be anything you want, does not have to be unique. Meaning if there is a John Smith, there can be 20,000 other John Smiths that have that name. So it doesn't have to be unique. One important thing to remember is that actually the name is indexed by the search algorithm. So let's say you have a plant business, so you're selling plants. You should, or you have the opportunity to include the keyword plant in your title. Because if somebody's searching for plant or the keyword plant, you are going to be able to pop up based on the keyword that is in your title. So it doesn't have to be just a replica of your name or a different name for your business. You can actually use it for keywords you can rank higher. Now, in this particular case, it says Guy from Vine because this guy, Sean Sauce TV, was famous on Vine, and he had a lot of users there, and a lot of people know him as the guy from Vine. So that's what he said. It's a unique sort of opportunity to also identify yourself. So here you can be creative and have fun and tell the user some more information about yourself, or you can use it as a place to put in keywords so you can rank better for the algorithm. And you can change the name anytime you want. So that's switchable. There's no restrictions. On the bottom, under the profile picture, we have Sean Sauce TV, and that's the actual username. The username has to be unique. So if there would be another Sean Sauce TV, you cannot also use that. You have to say the Sean Sauce TV or Sean Sauce TV 2 or whatever else, but it has to be unique. And you cannot change it right away. You can only change it once every 30 days. So TikTok does place some restrictions, change it only once every 30 days, and it has to be unique. The username, the unique username that's on the bottom, is also indexed by the search. So you could put keywords in here and it'll pop up in searches. So this is a really good example, and I'll show you another one. So this is a bad example of the name and username. As you can see, the Matthew Hussey is both the name and username, and he's missing out a massive opportunity to rank or to give users some more information. Now, Matthew Hussey is pretty known. As you can see, it's a verified account, 700,000 followers almost, but still, you're missing out. It doesn't cost anything, and literally, it's like almost no effort to add a more unique name. So you got the username, which is great, but then instead of copying the same for the actual name, I would be a bit more creative, and you can put in some keywords. He does a lot of dating advice, so quite simply, you could just say dating advice at the top. Even that would be better than leaving it just the way it is. Here's another example of BMW motorcycles, and the same thing. They just copy pasted the name and username. Most people just don't know the difference when they're creating a profile and they're missing an opportunity to get rank. So I mean, very simply at the top, they could have said literally just BMW motorcycles, what it says in their bio, or they could have some other keywords that'll help them rank, or be playful. Just do something interesting. Don't just copy paste everything that's in there. In the next lecture, we're going to take a look at what type of a name and username you should choose depending on what's your type of profile. So personal, business, or aggregate. Your name and your username are the first thing people are going to see on your profile. They're going to form their impression based on what they see there. However, this is also where a lot of people make mistakes. In this lecture, we're going to talk about what kind of name and username you should use based on the type of account you have selected. So first, there's a couple of universal rules that you should follow no matter what type of an account you have. The first one, keep it simple, keep it short, pretty basic. The shorter your name is, the easier it's going to be remembered. However, as platforms grow, they get more popular, more and more people go on, and it gets more and more difficult to get those very simple, very good, short names and usernames. So we'll talk about what to do if your username is not available, but try it with the shortest possible one. The second tip is don't use special characters like this guy. Luckily, in your actual username, you cannot use special characters. You can only use dot, underscore, numbers, and letters, but you do not need to make this complicated. If you had to explain the profile to somebody, what's the profile name, it should be very simple, very easy. You should be able to do it over the phone without having to explain yourself. So that's the most important rule. Do not use special characters or any weird combinations in your username. Number two, don't use several letters in a row. For example, like over here, it is impossible to write out. You have to tell people how many A's there are in your name. It just looks like you fell asleep and you were just holding the A button. It is not necessary. You can be much more creative than this. And finally, the fourth tip, do not put a random string of digits at the end of your username just because that exact username was taken without the numbers. Don't be like this guy, random cool videos, 223373. Why? It just makes you look very unprofessional. So if those are the things you should not be doing, let's talk about what you should be doing. Starting off with personal profile. Obviously, you should start out by using your actual full name. That's the simplest and easiest thing for a personal profile. However, if your name is taken, here are a couple things you can do to still have a unique name that represents your personal brand. First thing you can do is use I am just before your name. Here's an example. This is Cesar Millan. He has very popular videos about training dogs and animals. Even says a dog whisperer in his bio. And he just simply put I am before. This is something that a lot of people do, and as a personal brand, that's perfectly acceptable. If your full name is not possible, maybe you could do a combination where you use the first letter of your first name or the first letter of your last name. As here, Mark Cuban has M. Cuban. Again, very simple. If you're feeling pretty good about yourself, you can use adjectives. So for example, you could say great, awesome, guru, expert. If you're trying to form a personal brand that relate to any of these, that's something you can use before or after the username, and you can just separate with a dot or an underscore, for example. But maybe you don't want to use your actual last name and have that kind of identity. Maybe you want to have a different kind of name and personal brand on TikTok. This is a fantastic example of using a name that's not your last name, but also making it super memorable. So this guy is called Peter Prankster. Now, first of all, you can already guess what the videos are going to be about. They're prank videos. So he's using that in his keyword and in his username and in his actual name. So that's fantastic. And when you start both of the names with the same letter, it makes it very memorable. It's sort of a little memory hack, and it's much easier to remember when they have the same first letter. One way to make sure that your name is going to stand out is to make it rhyme. So over here we have Trash Can Dan.
That's my character. I'm the trash man.
Now, it depends on what kind of a personality you're trying to build. Trash Content is a travel vlogger, so you can have a very funky profile name. It's not very serious, but if you can make it rhyme, extra points for you. And finally, you can get creative, and your personal brand, if it's more professional, you could also use the industry or niche you're in your actual username. So this is a great example. The Dentist, that's a fun sort of word on play on words, and also you can tell that he's a dentist, but he's using a very short, very memorable username and keyword, Dentist. This is one of my favorite examples on name and username for a personal brand. So as you can see, her username says @KPikeFashion. Probably because just the name K Pike was taken, she added fashion because it's relevant to her actual profile. And at the top, you can see it says the body painter. It's fantastic. It explains what she does. It ranks for really good keywords. She is a body painter. There's a great way to be creative and use your name and username to your advantage. The second category of profiles are business profiles. So obviously the first thing you want to do is use your business name. That is the simple, easiest thing. But if you don't have that available, here are a couple things you can do. First example is Bosch Power Tools. So Bosch was already taken, but they just added Power Tools because that's their business. It explains their industry. Very simple, gets to the point, and a great use of the actual name and username. Another thing you can do in business profiles is actually use the .com domain in your name. So as an example here, we have lovehockey.com. That's the website. So one, it serves as a place to remind people that you actually have a website, and it's pretty clear and they can go to your website. If you don't have the link in bio available, this is a great way to use it, and also differentiate. So if you are a internet-based business, you can just add .com to the end if your actual name is taken. Another thing you can do is simply add the word TikTok before or after your username. This is just a way of telling users that, hey, this is my business on TikTok, so it says TikTok. That's perfectly acceptable if your name is already taken. Here's an example, TikTok Hoopers, and you can do the same for your business. If you have a physical business that actually has shops in the streets, for example, you can also add the location. So if your shop was organic foods, you could say Organic Foods Barcelona if you're active in Barcelona. This is limiting for future purposes and growth, but like I said, you can change the username every 30 days, so you can also update this later on. A very common thing is to simply add official at the end of your profile. Over here we have Extreme Official. Quite simple. Maybe you don't have to have your full business name. For example, Minnesota Wild, the hockey team, they just said MN Wild. Everybody knows what it means. It's very short, very simple. And at the top, it still says Minnesota Wild in their name. Or you could use other words that might even help your business. So for example, GetFlexSeal is the username for FlexSeal, the business. And Get just sort of incentivize people that it's something you can get. If you have an app, you can add the word app. Or NBC has Stay Tuned NBC. So there's all kinds of creative ways you can get a really good username, but don't use like special characters or random numbers at the end or multiple letters in the middle. It doesn't make any sense. One thing to remember as a business, if you are a known large brand and there's accounts on TikTok that have the name of your business as a username, and also they're using your logo, so they're trying to pretend they're you can actually report this to TikTok and they'll take it down. They'll help you out. But for this, you have to be a known brand and you have to have a verified account. And finally, we have the third category of aggregate accounts. Now, if you're choosing a username and name for the aggregate account, it makes sense that you make it very clear, very specific to what the account is about. You have a lot of opportunity to communicate, and before even people get to your profile, you can already tell them what the profile is all about. It's probably the simplest and the most fun ways you can communicate your profile is with aggregate accounts. Meme or Dare is a great example. It's very memorable. Everybody knows it's a play on word. You know that it's going to be about memes. Very simple, and it sort of tells us what we're going to see on the profile before we even get there, and it's really easy to remember. Dunk Basketball is a great example of an aggregate account. So the username Dunk is very short, very simple, very memorable. Everybody in the target group will know what it's all about, and it still says Dunk Basketball in the actual name. So if you have an aggregate account, you can just simply add the word or the niche or the industry at the end of the name or before the name. You can also create adjectives. So for example, awesome, great, fantastic. Create any words that are relevant to your industry and then add them to the name of the account. So hopefully now you know what kind of a username and name you can create. And the three main properties to remember is that it should be short, it should be memorable, and it should explain what kind of industry or niche your profile is in.
If you have a username that you really want and someone else has it, honestly, there's not a whole lot you can do. If you guys check my Instagram account or my Instagram class, you can see that I actually managed to talk someone into giving me their account, but it was not the number one I wanted. It was like the number two that I wanted. And it's not something I'd really count on. Like sometimes you can get it from people, but it's just not something I'd really count on. What you really, only thing you can do is like try to direct message them on the platform, see if they respond. They don't respond, use their name, use their username, try to find them on other social media, Facebook, for instance. You can send them a message request. Sometimes you can find them on other things. Sometimes you get lucky and you can find them on WhatsApp. But other than that, it's like, just don't count on it. I would say that you have probably a 10% chance, maybe 5% chance of getting that username. It's much easier to just come up with a different idea. Don't get obsessed over one account name. Because there's, you know, for any given account, there's 20, 30 different ones that are just as good. And I wouldn't spend so much thought thinking like, oh, if I don't have the perfect username, it's going to screw me over somehow. And it's just not really the case. Your content is just so much more important compared to whether or not your username is the number 1 you wanted or the number 4.
Yeah, and I've actually had a similar experience where there's somebody has the handle @Darius on TikTok, and I really wanted it, and I tried to send a direct message within TikTok, but got no response. And the account is not active. There's 0 videos, not many followers at all. Tried to message them on TikTok, didn't get a response. Stalked them on Facebook, tried to send a friend request, send a message on Messenger, but didn't go through, didn't get accepted. And I've been trying like for a couple months now to get the account, but I heard nothing back. So it can be tricky to find somebody specifically. Like also if it's a pretty common name, there's so many of those people, it's gonna be hard to find that specific individual on any other social platform. So I just ended up not chasing that specific account, and then using my last name, for example, because it's more specific. So if you can't get the perfect username that you wanted, somebody has it and you can't reach them, then there's a number of things you can do to create maybe a better username or something that's close enough. So it depends on whether you are an individual or a business or an aggregate account. There's different strategies that we cover in the actual lectures. But if you are an individual, you can, for example, add I am in front, or I am as a shorter version just in front. A lot of famous people actually do that when their main account's already taken. You can include your last name or something that will describe what you are talking about, what your TikTok is about. So if you talk about technology, you could say your first name dot technology or something like that. What is not a very good idea, I don't think, is using numbers at the end of your username, especially like random numbers or the year you were born. It doesn't look very professional. It's not easy to remember, and in general, just not, I think, good advice. And then if you're a business, then you can add, for example, your industry to the username if the specific name is already taken, or you can add the location. If it's a restaurant in a specific city, you can say restaurant name San Diego, whatever that might be. Or you can use adjectives that you want to be associated with that specific profile that you're creating. If you are a business and you're using your actual brand name, and there's people that have taken that account and they know it's your brand name, but they're creating this account anyways, you can actually mark those. You can talk to TikTok and get them taken down. So when we opened up our account with Reflectly, there was like 20 fake accounts with Reflectly that use the name and use our logo as the actual icons. They're pretending to be Reflectly and posting videos that were like screenshots of the app, for example. So they're like obvious violation. So we just flagged them with TikTok. They removed all the fake ones, and then we got our official name. We're the only ones there. So you can also do that, but you have to show that you are a real business and you're actually using the name in the real world. And it can't be something generic like cars. It has to be your actual brand name.
Yeah. My favorite thing to do if you're a business is, and you can't get your account name for some reason, is to add .com, because that's incredible. So many people will see your name based on your content. And if they see the .com, you're going to peel off quite a bit of people to go to the website. You can't do that in Instagram. Like, you can't put a .com anymore because they won't. For a while there you could, but now it doesn't seem like they're making people take that off. It was just incredible to do that. And one of the great things is just that someone might have your name, but what are the odds they have your domain name? That doesn't make any sense. Like, you have your domain name, so why would they have the .com? There is some really out there stuff, like if you're a company and you really want this account name and they won't give it to you, there's some really kind of weird shit I've seen where you can file a trademark. And if you file the trademark, and if you are clearly the company that uses this, and people would be confusing this account with your company, you can actually file it out from under them and get the account back. But that just takes an enormous amount of time and effort, and you don't know it's going to necessarily work. This happens with domains a lot. Like, if you remember the company Groupon wanted that name, and someone else had the domain, and the person was it had all these social accounts and everything, and the guy was trying to extort them for an enormous amount of money, so Groupon just filed a trademark and then just filed it in court and just took it from them. So yeah, you could do stuff like that. I just don't count on it. I think the other thing is, if you're doing a personal account or an aggregate account, there's no excuse for not coming up with an account you can use, because TikTok's early enough right now that there are a lot of things available, but also just stick an adjective at the end or the beginning. It's so easy. Like if someone had Evan Kimbrell, I would take any adjective that starts with E and I put it in front of my first name, and that's it. I'd be Eager Evan, or like something like that. Just get a dictionary and find words that start with your letter and just do some really quick alliteration. The only time where I wouldn't necessarily do that is if you had your name on all the other accounts, on all the other social media accounts like Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram. In that case, then I would just do your name plus TikTok. Because why would anyone have Evan Cabral TikTok or Evan TikTok? Then it's just, this is my TikTok version. So you should be able to find something.
Yeah, no, originally I was actually using Darius.marketing because all my videos were marketing, and also that was the domain name I was using for my website. I ended up changing it to Darius.mora because I was going to build more of a personal brand and not be so closely associated with the word marketing, but that's also something you can use.
Yeah. Okay, so another question run into is when you're picking a name and a username, how important is indexability? Meaning, like, do I go for words that I think people are searching for, or is this not something I should care about? Because in other social media platforms, that's a big one, right? If you're making a Facebook group or an Instagram account, those two platforms have significant numbers of people searching for things based on what they're looking for, and so it makes a lot of sense to put these adjectives or these specific words that you think people are going to be searching for, and you can get that traffic. You know, like if you couldn't get Darius on Instagram, marketing Darius or entrepreneur Darius would actually make a lot of sense. But on TikTok, it doesn't seem to be the case. Like, user behavior on TikTok right now, not a lot of people are searching. It's just a fraction of what you'd expect on other ones. So I don't think about indexability very much. Like, you're not thinking about whether or not someone's Google searching this and they're going to find your TikTok account. That doesn't even factor, right? Because TikTok is so mobile specific, mobile native. I would say no, it doesn't really matter. Don't think about what people are searching for.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the vast majority of people will discover content through the For You page, and very few of them will actually search. The algorithm will change the content rapidly based on your preference, what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a lot of car-related content, for example, you'll get a lot of that. You'd have to go and search for hashtag cars or whatever you might be looking for. So definitely people are not doing as much searching through the hashtags or through the words, even though both your username and name are indexed, but it doesn't play a huge role. So I would rather create a name that's memorable or easier to use rather than focusing on indexability. In the bio, you have the opportunity to tell people why they should follow your account, and that's what we're going to talk about in this lecture. The bio is limited to only 80 characters, so it's a very small amount of space that you actually have where you can communicate. There are three basic types of bios: a list bio, a one-to bio, and a hook bio. Let's take a look at the list bio. So here I have a profile of Gary Vee, and looking at his profile, as you can see, he has a short list of things that best describe him or describe his personal brand. So the top is entrepreneur, then investor, and then CEO of VaynerMedia. So you can very briefly list what your profile is all about. Whether you're a business or an aggregate account or a personal account, you can just sort of list who you are, and this helps to give you sort of authority and help people tell who you really are. The second type is a one-to bio. Basically, you use one or two sentences to explain either your business or your personal brand, or you explain what is in the profile, what people can expect. So in this example, we have Extreme, and they explain what it is. It's the latest and greatest from the world of extreme sports. Very simple and down to the point, and now you know exactly what you can expect from this type of a profile. Another example of a very short bio is this one from NFL. It just says CEO of football, and the reason why it says CEO is because it's a trend on TikTok. You say CEO of something, and it makes you, that some people use it as a joke, like CEO of alcoholism, and then it's about drinking a lot of alcohol. So this is a great way to explain what it's all about. Obviously, everybody knows the NFL, so they have to spend too much time describing their business, but it's a great way to adapt it to TikTok and use the trends to make yourself be relevant in that platform. The third option is a hook bio, where basically you give people a reason to follow you or provide some more information, and you hook them onto something interesting where they want to stick around. So we have an example of the Pentest, and it's a great hook bio. So he says, first follow my Instagram, and then randomly following back. So it's a reason to follow and maybe hopefully get a follow from him. And he says, secret braces life hack at 20,000 on YouTube. So again, another reason to go to Instagram, go to YouTube, and get more followers, and he's trying to incentivize you in that way. We also see a lot of companies, for example, when they announce competitions or they use TikTok to do competitions, then they will have that in the bio as well, and they'll say, like, let's say we're giving out this gadget every weekend. Or you could also say you're posting, for example, marketing videos every other day, and that's something that you can put in your bio. As a pro tip, you can use emojis in your bio. This is TikTok. It's a fun entertainment platform. There's no reason to be shy. Here, NBA is a great example of putting emojis and using them well in a very simple, very short bio. Again, everybody knows what NBA is, but it just catches attention and helps sort of communicate what it's all about. Don't put too many emojis because then it just looks confusing and it's too just mashed up together, but one or two emojis, or for example, using a list bio like we have Gary Vee's profile, he puts an emoji at the beginning of each of the lists or each of the bullet points that helps draw the attention and maybe communicate something more to what the bio is all about. So to recap, now you know that your bio has up to 80 characters. There's three types of bios: the list bio, the one-to bio, or the hook bio. And for extra prize money, you can use emojis in your bio as well.